Hey guys, I watched a video a while back. I think the video is about a month old, so it couldn't have been more than a month ago. And I really thought someone was going to respond to it, and no one has. And today, driving to work, I really felt it impressed upon me to talk about this video. So in this video, and I'm going to post it in the comments, I'll pin it so it'll be the top comment. You won't be able to miss it. Father Chazelle of the cult, The Resistance, was being interviewed by, it seemed like someone in the Resistance was interviewing him and said, is it true that Archbishop Vigano is now part of the Resistance? And he said, yes. Now, to be part of the Resistance, you have to be consecrated and ordained by a Resistance bishop. And so her first question after that was, well, has he been consecrated and ordained? And he said that yes, well, he didn't say yes. He said they're very ambiguous, and you'll see in this video, I'll show you how the enemies of the church will project what they're doing onto what the true church is doing and make the Catholic Church look evil. And all these little cults are the ones that are really the true Catholics. So they're very ambiguous. This guy is but if you listen, he clearly said he took everything that was necessary was done. And what's necessary in the Resistance is to be reordained, which is blasphemy. It's like being rebaptized, saying your ordination was no good. So he was according to Father Chazelle of the Resistance. And if you're not familiar with the Resistance cult, so they broke away from the SSPX cult. And they're different than the SSPV cult that broke away from the SSPX. And this is Protestantism, this 101. Schisms create more schisms and more schisms. I think there's 6 breakoffs of the SSPX. So the SSPS is a schismatic group that was started by a man named Marcel Lefebvre when Pope John Paul II told him do not ordain any bishops. And like I said, these guys are all sneaky liars, and he agreed with Pope John Paul II that he wouldn't do it. And then he did it, the next day. So Pope St. John Paul II excommunicated Marcel Lefebvre, and he died an excommunicated Catholic, just like Martin Luther died an excommunicated Catholic. No difference there. So the group, the SSPX, rejected Vatican II. So they are illicit. Their masses are illegal, illicit. Of course, they're priests. Once a priest, always a priest. So they're valid priests. The Eucharist is a valid Eucharist. This is why it's so horrible what Vigano just did by allowing himself to be reordained. Basically, he rejected his ordination because they reject the new church, they call us, the conciliatory church, whatever they call us. Any church after Vatican II, they're all bad. We're evil. So let me get back to this interview with Father Chazelle. They said, well, is he going to come out making a formal announcement? And they're like real sneaky. No, we got work for him to do. Basically, you'll see the video. Basically, they want to keep this on the download, and they kept it on the download for a while. This happened over a month ago. But he said, he's basically said he's been very close with Bishop Williamson, and I'll get to him in a minute. And he agrees with Bishop Williamson that Pope Francis is a heretic, that he hates the new Mass, and he condemns Vatican II. So the anti-Vatican II guy who filmed the video, he appears to be on the same side as the Resistance, says it's obvious to him, being an insider with these people, that it was Bishop Williamson that ordained Vigano. Now, Bishop Williamson has the distinct, I wouldn't say dishonor of being excommunicated twice. He's an excommunicated bishop as we speak. So Archbishop Vigano let an excommunicated bishop reordain him and consecrate him. This is wicked. Bishop Williamson was originally excommunicated by St. Pope John Paul II because he was one of the bishops that Marcel Lefebvre ordained. And then Pope Benedict, trying to bring these people back into the fold, lifted his excommunication. But then Pope Benedict, just a few years later, I think like 4 years later, had to excommunicate him again because he did exactly what Marcel Lefebvre did. He went against the Pope, and the Pope said, don't ordain any bishops, and he went and ordained bishops in disobedience to the Pope. And just like Marcel Lefebvre, well, I'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, I guess I could say just like Marcel Lefebvre, Bishop Williamson and Archbishop Vigano have covered up some things that you probably wouldn't know about. Because, I had friends that were cops, and I'm giving you an analogy here. A couple years back, this young rookie cop, I knew him since he played Pop Warner. I knew his father, great family. He shot a man who happened to be black. And I knew, because I knew the people, what happened. And I seen the video, and he was being attacked by a man with a knife, running up on him to stab him. And he sees a little girl bleeding to death from her neck. He just sliced the little girl, like a 7-year-old girl's neck, and then went to kill the cop so he could kill the girl. So the cop did what he needed to do and killed the man. And they saved the life of the girl. But the media around here portrayed it as a bad cop killing a black guy because he's racist. So Black Lives Marxists, Black Lives, BLM, Black Lives Marxists came and protested. Everybody was protesting. And the cops couldn't say anything because there was an ongoing investigation. But then when it came out, found out the little girl had a party, invited the cop, and hugged the cop and said he saved my life. She loved the cop. The family loved the cop. And the cop did an honorable thing. He's a good cop. And I see that with the church. These people that are against the church are doing wicked, evil things, and they're accusing Pope Francis of wicked, evil things. And Pope Francis doesn't say anything. He doesn't want to roll in the dirt with these people. And there's ongoing investigation, so he can't speak, It wouldn't be the Christian thing to do, but these guys don't care about the Christian thing to do, and I'm going to show you this, because I'm going to show you this. So Vigano's always talking about Pope Francis covering up for McCarrick. Pope Francis excommunicated McCarrick, number one. But Vigano, when I first heard about him a few years ago, and a friend of mine, a Protestant, says, I like this Protestant who has a lot of bad things to say about Catholicism, says, I like this bishop you got, this guy, Vigano. He's on the Trump train. And I'm a Trumper. I'm proud to support President Trump for a third time. So I checked him out. And politically, he was saying things I agree with, but there was something in my spirit. I'm like, there's something isn't right about this guy. It was like my spirit just felt like cringe, like something's not right about this guy. So I started researching this guy. I've had this information for a long time. And one of the things I found out was there was an investigation into this church, April 2014, that there was a John Neester engaged in sexual misconduct with adult men, and Archbishop Vigano squashed the investigation and covered up, according to this FBI report, April 2014. This was Bishop Vigano covering up gay sex crimes. And like I said, it's kind of ironic that Marcel Lefebvre and Bishop Williamson was warned about this gay seminarian that Lefebvre was very fond of. I don't know what that means. They say he was very fond and they were very close friends. This gay seminarian named Carlos Urigotti. And he was warned, this guy's a predator. He likes little boys. Don't ordain him. And Lefebvre and Bishop Williamson pushed this guy through, had him ordained. I think Lefebvre ordained him a priest. And Williamson promoted him, and they worked with this guy, and they hid this guy until finally he got arrested. So these are the guys that are saying Pope Francis are evil. So first I seen that investigation. And then I kept digging a little deeper, and check this out. This is very interesting. I find this, this is from a report, and I'll get to the report. It was a lawsuit that Vigano was involved in. It was initially reported that Vigano's brother, Father Lorenzo Vigano, a Jesuit biblical scholar, had said that his brother lied in telling Pope Benedict he needed to stay in Rome to care for his ailing brother, when apparently Lorenzo was healthy, living in Chicago, and had not spoken to his brother for years. So this was in court, under oath. Lorenzo Vigano, Archbishop, the famous Archbishop that's always on Taylor Marshall, and Taylor Marshall talks about him like he's a saint, that guy, brother was in court because Vigano was ripping him off millions of dollars. This guy's a millionaire, by the way. You'll see that in a minute. And his brother told the judge he lied. He told Pope Benedict he needed to stay in Rome. I wasn't even in Rome. He was there to take my money. And we'll see this. Milan court rules against Archbishop Vigano. If you don't know what the guy looks like, that's him. So I was like, this is interesting. This is a civil court in Milan ordered Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, a longtime diplomat and former Vatican nuncio to the United States, to return close to over $2 million plus interest and legal fees to his brother, Father Lorenzo Vigano. Father Vigano, a biblical scholar and priest of the Italian Diocese of Pavia, who resides in Chicago, won the lawsuit against his brother, the Archbishop, who has been ordered to hand over $2 million plus interest and legal fees. The priest has initiated several lawsuits against the Archbishop, and while many charges have been dismissed, this was the first to end with a ruling. According to the court, check this out. Did you know this about this man? According to the court ruling, which was handed down in October, Archbishop Vigano had received $4 million in net revenues from the two brothers' joint assets, which according to Father Vigano's estimation in 2010 amounted to $22 million. This guy's a millionaire, Archbishop Vigano. And he's trying to rip his brother off for $2 million. So they had $22 million in real estate holdings and more than $7 million in cash. This guy has $7 million in cash between two brothers. What does an 80-year-old priest need millions of dollars for? Archbishop Vigano has been in the international... Okay, so then it goes on. The Archbishop also had a falling out with his sister, Rosanna, who turned to Swiss authorities. So it wasn't just like the Italian authorities were against him. Even the Swiss authority ruled against this guy, stealing money from his sister. She had given the Archbishop deposits in a Swiss bank. In a complaint filed with Swiss prosecutors, Rosanna Vigano said she was aware of her money had been used to purchase an apartment. So she had given $500,000 to her brother to manage for her. Little did she know, she comes to find out that he used it, sold property without her knowledge, and claimed the Archbishop kept the money for the sale himself. This guy's a multimillionaire. He's keeping his sister's $500,000. The lawsuit was dropped after the Archbishop returned $11,000 to his sister and made $180,000 payment through the sister's lawyer. So they negotiated. So he gave her about $191,000 back. Does this not sound bizarre? This is the guy that Taylor Marshall and Kennedy Hall and all these guys lift up like some kind of saint. This guy's not saintly. And you say, well, why are you bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because if you listen to the interview, this Father Chazelle, they asked him about Vigano. Why do you want to keep it on the download? And he said, because Vigano, he said the word franking, but he had an accent, but he described flanking, like military flanking, where you surround the enemy. He said, we're using Vigano to frank the enemy. And he speaks about the enemy as the church, the Catholic Church. They're the resistance, a small little cult. They're going to get the Catholic Church back to what they believe is tradition. And they're using Vigano, and he said it. And he said he's bringing a lot of priests over. and we're consecrating and ordaining priests. This is totally illicit. This is totally wrong. This is evil. This is against canon law. This is against everything. And this is what these people are doing. And Vigano's a part of this. And Vigano's recruiting priests. And he's calling us the enemy. This is why I'm bringing this up. Jesus says, be wise as serpents, but as innocent as doves. We need to say innocent, but we got to be aware because he's tricking people. And they even asked him, well, what about Bishop Strickland? They said, well, Vigano's been talking to him. We're trying to bring him over. So if you're wondering what's happening with Strickland, Vigano is trying to recruit him to this cult, the Resistance. And he said, and this is what Father Chazelle said. He goes, Bishop Strickland is a good man. Probably the only honest thing the guy said in the whole video. I believe, yes, Bishop Strickland is a good man. But he's still saying the new mass. He's not listening to us. He needs to stop saying that mass. That mass is evil. So Vigano is like sneaking around in the shadows. The devil hates the light. I had exorcist priest Father Ian Uzi, and he said the devil hates the light. Demons hate the light. And this guy's just hiding around the shadows, always hiding. You never know where he's at. And he pops up on Taylor Marshall and Kennedy Hall, and they brag about this guy like they quote him like he's an authority in the church, and he's about to, I would imagine he's about to get excommunicated. But they quote him like he's a saint or something. And this is how the devil, the more I research this stuff, the underbelly of these schismatics is wicked. There's evil. Bishop Williamson got fined, or he got convicted in Germany for hate speech. And I'm all about free speech. I don't want to see hate speech. People should be free to say whatever they want, whether I disagree with them or not. But what he said as a Catholic should scare the life out of you. He denied the Holocaust happened. He said no Jews got killed in a gas chamber. In fact, his group, the SSPX, wanted to give a funeral to a Nazi war criminal, convicted, unrepentant, and the authorities wouldn't let him do it because the Catholics were protesting in that area. The Jews were protesting. It was just wicked. He also hid, the SSPX under Lefebvre also hid a Nazi war criminal until the authorities finally found him. And they said there's no way Lefebvre didn't know, because he claimed, I didn't know he was living here for 20 years. So as I go into these schismatics, the Bible says the devil will come as an angel of light. And you see Taylor Marshall seems like a nice family guy, nice guy, very educated, extremely well spoken, and yet he promotes Vigano. He promotes these schismatics that say the new mass is evil. You have Kennedy Hall, nice family guy, seems like a nice guy, very well spoken, and he says he would rather die than go to a Novus Ordo Mass. He tells his followers, if you can only get to a Novus Ordo Mass, don't go, stay home. That's a mortal sin. These people, so they're acting like all nice, and they don't look as evil as this underbelly. Like you look at these schismatics and you go deep, and it gets deeper. It's scary because they're on YouTube smiling and joking, just seem like regular guys. And it's the devil trying to split the church. And I just got some scriptures. First thing that jumped off, this scripture always jumps to my head whenever I hear Christians suing Christians. Either Protestants brothers suing Protestant brothers or Catholic brothers. And then these are literal brothers too. 1 Corinthians 6, 1 through 8. St. Paul talking to the Corinthians who are like really jacked up. The church is really a mess. He's like, when one of you has a grievance against a brother, does he dare go to law before the unrighteous instead of the saints? Do you not know that the saints will judge the world? And if the world is to be judged by you, are you incompetent to try trivial cases? Do you not know that we are to judge angels? How much more matters pertaining to this life? If then you have such cases, why do you lay them before those who are at least esteemed by the church? I say this to your shame. Can it be that there is no man among you wise enough to decide between members of the brotherhood? But brother goes to law against brother, and that before unbelievers? To have lawsuits at all with one another is defeat for you. Why not rather suffer wrong? So if you're a Christian, and someone's suing you, he's saying just suffer. Even if you're being unjustly, it's better not to make a mockery out of the church, suing each other before non-Christians. Especially when you're worth $20 million like Archbishop Vigano. He's in, maybe his brother initiated because he ripped his brother off, but he's fighting to keep those millions of dollars he stole from his brother. It's bizarre to me. But you yourself, he says, so why not suffer wrong? Forget about that. You yourselves wrong and defraud, and that even your own brother. Boom. He's talking to Archbishop Vigano right there. 1 Corinthians 6, that was verse 8. And then this guy has all that money, and he's still fighting to hold on to the money he wrongfully took from his brother and his sister. And then this verse comes right out. 1 Timothy 6:10. For the love of money is the root of all evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced their hearts with many pangs. So I just want to make sure, I had so much more. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything before I go on here. So I don't say this to bash this guy. This guy called the church the enemy. Vigano is calling for Pope Francis to be arrested. This guy's crazy. But what does Jesus tell us to do when we're dealing with these types of people? Jesus tells us in Matthew 5:43 to 5:44. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the just and the unjust. We need to love them because our Father in heaven loves them. You know, I remember growing up, and my sister was a heroin addict for 30 years, and there were some nights she didn't come home, and my father would be pacing, and I knew my father was so worried about her. Our Father in heaven is worried about Archbishop Vigano and this Father Chazelle and all these other cultists that believe they're the resistance, they're the true church. Every schismatic thinks that. You know, Martin Luther thought that, he died an excommunicated Catholic. Lefebvre thought that, he died an excommunicated Catholic. And Vigano's on that same track. He's riding that same schismatic train. Nothing he's saying is new. Martin Luther called the Pope at the time, his name escapes me, an antichrist. Marcel Lefebvre called Pope St. John Paul II an antichrist. Vigano is calling Pope Francis an antichrist. These guys don't come up with nothing new. The devil doesn't learn anything new. He just rehashes his old tricks. Yet a whole generation of Catholics that were never exposed to this are seeing these nice guys on YouTube, like Taylor Marshall, say, I see him on more than one occasion, say, I think Marcel Lefebvre is a saint. And then he bashes a real saint, Saint Pope John Paul II, and says, the only reason Pope Francis canonized him was because Pope Francis wanted to canonize Vatican II. So he's very sneaky, ambiguous. He's not saying he's against Vatican II because that would make him a schismatic. He just bashes how bad it is, has all these people that are schismatics on his show promoting schism, bashes St. John Paul II, has videos about him, you know, where he's kissing the Quran. He's like this. When if you know the story, he didn't even know it was a Quran. So he's attacking real saints and lifting up schismatics as saints. So it's hard to love these people, but God loves them. I mean, Jesus died for them, you know, and he's calling us to love them and to pray for them. But we got to speak the truth. Love without truth isn't love. You know, if I let my followers follow these men into schism, is that love? No. So I don't say these things to expose how wicked and evil these men are. I show these things to show you where schism leads. To lies. These guys lies, lawsuits, and schisms, I was going to name this video. This is where schism leads. It's a dead end. It's a dead end, man. Come home to the one true church, the one holy Catholic Apostolic Church that has one Pope, and his name is Pope Francis, Papa, he loves you. And he hurts and he weeps for you. Just like Jesus. He's a great representative of Jesus to us. God gave us him to lead us, to be our shepherd. He's not God. He's not perfect. But he's way better shepherd than Vigano, who's leading his men into schism. And so, pray for your enemies. Love them. Do good to them. I don't know them personally, so I don't know how to do good. The only good I can do to these people is pray for them. But if I was close to them, I would try and talk to them. But all you guys watching, I'm going to ask you to do a big favor for me. Please pray for me. I need your prayers. This morning, my alarm went off at midnight. I'm driving to work, and it's a little country road. It's an easy 45-minute ride usually. And there was a fire. There was a boat on fire. It was weird that somebody lit their boat on fire. So the cops had the road blocked off. So I had to detour and go way out of my way. And I just said, Lord, I was pretty tired. I'm like, Lord, I was praying the whole time while I was going. I was like, okay, guess you want to spend more alone time with me. Show me what you want. And one of the things he showed me was I feel, I couldn't think about nothing else but doing this video. So I believe that's one of the things. And then I seen this goofy sign. It actually was at a bar that I never passed because I never go this way. And it said, if your dreams don't scare you, your dreams are too small. I thought that was pretty cool. And I started thinking about my dreams and praying. And I was like, Lord, I don't think and I'm not saying this to brag. A lot of blue collar guys, I know guys that are harder workers than me. This is what we do. This is what blue collar guys do. So I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you how it is. I haven't called in sick in probably 20 years. Not that I've never been sick and I've never been injured, but it's what we do. We can't afford to call out sick. I break my hand. I can't afford to go get a cast and be on disability. I just put an ace bandage on it. These are true stories that happen to me. I put in 70 hours a week, busting my butt. I said, Lord, I would love to give that kind of dedication to this channel and just evangelize 70 hours a week. I promise I never call in sick. Just because it's something I love to do. I don't really enjoy throwing milk all day. I just do it because it pays good, but it's physically exhausting and the hours I work are mentally tiring. But I'm like, Lord, if you could give me the ability to do this full time, that would be my dream. But what it takes to do it is scary. And I'm not there yet, but pray for me that I could evangelize more. That's all I want to do. And I know there's better evangelists and better apologists and better Bible teachers, but the people that I can reach with the little bit of knowledge and life experience I have, send me, please. Send me with your prayers. That's all I'm asking. Pray that God sends me. I'm 59. I don't know, I could be dead tomorrow. I want to use every minute of my day to evangelize, to bring people to Jesus and to his church, the one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. And I want to keep Catholics from leaving like I did when I was 20. I want them to stay Catholic. So if you can please do me that one thing and pray for me. God bless and stay Catholic.